says that we're going live, which is why everyone seems confused when they first get onto YouTube streaming. I don't. I just point it out. Hey, thanks so much for checking out Lore Reloaded. Don't forget to go to twitter.com/Lore Reloaded. Wow, twitter.com/Lore Reloaded. Check me out there, twitch.tv/Lore Reloaded. And of course, just so you guys are aware, in the near future, a week from Friday, we will be having the second ever, so the 22nd, the second ever War Canoe podcast with Ketwalski and I. And coming up a week from today, I will be doing a live stream, probably here, that one, but going forward, it'll be Twitch after that, where it's going to be me, Ketwalski, Lore Runner, and Jesse Jinder playing some Star Trek Adventures. So we're really looking forward to that. Guys, thanks so much for coming, and we're just going to get into it. Though I will say hi to a couple people like Anthony Zubar, Philip K, Al Weifu, Daniel Wheatley, Sky Bennett, who says Doom, and then Andre Jovanovic, Art and Dyslexia, who is from Bosnia. Pretty cool. Or Bosnia in the Latin. And Orataka Tinga is always here. It's always a party when Orataka Tinga can come. So, let's go ahead and discuss the horrors of Starfleet medical technology. Because in the end, when you think about it, Starfleet medical technology can be quite horrific. Now, what got me started on this was the realization of what can occur when you look at the way people will manipulate the technology that Starfleet makes. Will Lozen, I'm actually not live at the moment. This is pre-recorded with an understanding of how you are going to react. So I specifically put this in here to make it look like I'm live, but I'm not. Anytime I respond to you, it's just because I know you better than you know yourself. The first one was when I was going through the Dominion War, and we looked at where a Vorta was made to look like he was alive, utilizing Starfleet technology, which, by the way, apparently they just leave for people to get or to look at. And it was on Impak Nor. Now, thinking about it, yeah, that had to be Starfleet technology. I'm not completely sure where it came from, but it would definitely have to be Starfleet technology. We'll watch later now with Bird of Prey 5. Take my money. Talk to you later, Yosef Petrick. Thanks for coming. We also see in some instances where biomimetic gel can be utilized for cloning. And honestly, I just wanted your guys' opinion on it. Now, for those who have watched the channel, for those who aren't what we would say are called normies, you know that I've talked about how Starfleet medical and Starfleet technology should have been spread to the universe, that they should have been helping people as much as they can, give or take. There are some caveats to that. In that video, that was a while back, so I don't completely remember what I said in there, but I believe it was something to the impact of Starfleet medical should be able to help out. They should be able to utilize their resources. A lot of people took it that I said that they should share the medical technology, and I'm not 100% on that. I don't believe that's what I said before. But I'm just addressing the video because I know that it's going to come up. Got Continuum Trek in the house, a normie, as it were. By the way, that's a great intro there, Continuum Trek. I really like that. You know, I think I may use that a couple of times, if you don't mind. Continuum Trek does a lot of Trek videos and has a really good intro. His music and showing shots of what he's going to be talking about is very unique, and you've never seen it before, so I think I may do it on a couple of my videos as well. Now, all that out of the way, what do you guys think? When you look at the technology and the way that it can be used and the way that it is used, it seems to me that ultimately Starfleet tech is just like horrific. Especially something to consider when looking at that episode that I was talking about where you have Nog on Impak Nor. Remember, he's not a medical official. He's not like a doctor or anything. He just knows how to use this stuff based on basic training that he received. What about the EMH? They had a terrible rate of becoming sentient. Well, I think that's a different conversation. I would say that the EMH, when you do so much as just remove the ethical subroutines, become the most evil person on planet Earth. Like they'll do anything. I think that creates an issue. And I would agree, 55 people watching, only 12 likes. Hit that like button. It's more scared of you than you are of it. Kyber crystals are actually infinity stones, which brought technology to Earth that made it possible for us to go to warp, introducing the Star Trek universe. Well done. Well done. It seems that Starfleet medical tech is prone to weaponization. So that is the conversation to be had on it, I think. Is that because of the way it's made and what it can do, it can be weaponized. And I would agree that there's maybe a concern with that, but that just means that you restrict it when you're assisting people. And you can set up different guidelines to how you share it, how you use it, and what you do with it. I still think that Starfleet Medical definitely had an obligation to assist people if they could. That them keeping it and almost using it, not on purpose, but it was almost used as a bartering tool or something to be kept over someone's head. You know, if you become a member, we're going to open up all of this access to you. I think it could be pretty diabolical. And again, I don't know that they're doing it on purpose. If y'all are talking about the cat behind me, yeah, he hasn't been feeling all that well, and I got 3 lights on him right now. So he's not in the best at the moment. The Doctor. Here, let me show you my greatest weakness. And some guy whacks mobile emitter. That is a weakness. I would concur with that. Well, and honestly, again, the biggest issue with the EMH is someone with sufficient access can simply remove an ethical subroutine, and instantly the EMH becomes turned around and becomes Dr. Jekyll or whatever you would say, and just is willing to do anything, even to someone he's been friends with for years, without an ethical subroutine. That, to me, has a lot of issues. Any technology can be weaponized. I think you mean Starfleet. Medical technologies can be used to kill on a mass scale. Not just a mass scale, but it can be used on... it can be used in horrific ways. Like, they zombify Avorta. They make it so that he still walks, that he can look like he's going somewhere, that he appears to be alive. I mean, it's pretty bad. Why aren't holo emitters all over ships by default? The holo emitter technology was from the 31st century, so they didn't have them at that point. But I'm assuming once they did in the 31st century or wherever it came from, that they would have that ultimately. Or why aren't or are you talking about not? Oh, I'm thinking mobile emitters. Why aren't holo emitters all over? The newer ships had them. The Prometheus had it, as well as others. So in the newer ships, they do. The Iron Hands adds a second level of augmentation horror with all the cybernetics. The Iron Hands. Where'd that one come from? Why they don't just simply use transporters to cure diseases? We know the biofilters can remove them. There are a lot of things that the transporters can fix that they never deal with or they never use. The problem, I think, is that they made the technology too powerful. Because again, like you pointed out, they can remove a ton of issues. And the transporter, we know, can reorganize your insides or make different changes. So in theory, you wouldn't even have to have someone go through an operation. If something was wrong, you could beam them from one location to the other with whatever's wrong with them fixed. And that'd be easy. That's just a simple process. So It's kind of interesting because you would think, with that in mind, in theory, what you could do is you transport somebody, which it takes a copy of the person. We know that's how transporters work. They take a copy of the person and they put that copy wherever you tell them to, right? So you do one transport. You keep that copy of a person on file. Maybe update it once a week or once a month or something like that. And if something happens to them or they develop something or something is going on that's not an easy fix, just run them right through that transporter and you've gotten the issue resolved. Or if it's something like cancer, before it comes in or it's formed, run them through that transporter and then you have more time to deal with it. In theory, because we know transporters can turn people into kids, transporters are ultimately machines that allow you to live as long as you want. They are literally immortal machines. They give you the life of immortality. Is zombifying a body horror? I would love it if that happens to me when I die. All Star Trek is horror in space. It literally is horror in space. Red Dwarf holograms, they update people so that if they die, they can be brought back as a hologram. Yes. I've actually watched Red Dwarf. I like Red Dwarf. By the way, 90 people watching, only 30 likes? Disappoint. Lego Mago, I knew you wanted to have a show, so I did it for you. But come on, guys, hit that like button. Let's at least get it to 45. Come on, we can do it. I have faith in you. Also, why did Starfleet never embrace nanotech? If you take away the Borg programming, that stuff would basically become God's gift to every species. Yeah, I guess it never really bothered me because the Next Generation was... I mean, I had watched the original series, but for the most part, the Next Generation is what got me my in to Trek. And so all of that was normalized for me. You don't really realize how powerful this technology is. Scotty saved himself in a transporter buffer for how many years? Yeah. Laura, just remember Satan controls Starfleet. I don't think so, Alweifu. Janeway never completely takes over Starfleet. Now, she does. She's like the third most powerful admiral that we've ever seen, but she never has full control over Starfleet yet. Now, she could, maybe behind the scenes, have all roads leading to her, but as far as we can see, Satan hasn't taken over yet. By the way, if you haven't watched it, I would suggest everyone watch Has Been Hotel, as long as you are not easily triggered and you don't mind slurs of every type. It is not safe for work. Watch it with like headphones on, but it is excellent. It's good writing. I find it interesting that they never really did in-depth exploration of nanotech. Yeah, I don't... I think with the fear of the Borg and an overall preference for organic, for not being part robot. I know there was a species that did that, but most of them didn't like that type of interference. And then the Borg came, and it was just all over at that point. I kind of see why they didn't go that route, why they preferred not to. But you're right, with the medical technology that Starfleet has, they are basically gods in and of their right. They can do nearly anything. Laura, can I hug your cat? Yes, you can. As a lover of Jesus Mark II, which got rid of all of those other issues we had with the Mark I series, you definitely can. But the Federation has one of the best medical qualities in the Alpha Quadrant. I think they have the best, unless it's like Q, where you can just cure anything. They have the best. Isn't nanotech based on organic molecule? Well, maybe it is, if you want to get technical. Howdy, Laura. What a title. What's going on? Not much, Captain Geronimo. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Yeah. Be careful with spamming, or not spam. I know you're not spamming, but be careful with using emotes too much and doing them all in a row. There have been some issues with people getting their accounts banned, like their full accounts, like the Google, Gmail, all of it gone. Transporters can do anything medically if it can transport. Transporters can not only do anything medically, they can reverse your age. However, I do think that there is a problem with the transporter. And here's something that I think people will get into. I haven't discussed the Q Civil War. No, I do think that the transporter is probably a killing machine. It most likely destroys it. Will you also break down other sci-fi series like Babylon 5? Raptor does. I actually have entire playlists dedicated to Babylon 5. I have discussed the Civil War as well as the other major war. I need to do it a little bit more, but I have actually, in fact, gone through all of that, good sir. But yeah, so the transporters definitely, I think, kill you, so there is a point to that. On the transporter comment, Dr. Pulaski hated transporters. She always liked shuttles. Chief O'Brien was always about those biofilters for detoxification of foreign bodies. I thought I saw a vid you did on the Q Civil War. I don't think I ever did. I may have. I mean, I got like over 900 videos or something. It's possible, but I don't ever remember doing it. If I did, I would be surprised. I mean, it's definitive. We have definitive evidence that they did that. Like when you watch it was brought up, Riker being duplicated. They exactly explain it. It takes a copy of you, makes the copy, and then destroys the original. So there's no way, in my opinion, around that. That Google account is something they're fixing as we speak. Apparently it was a bot that was set to be way too sensitive. Well, they may be fixing it, they may be not. For those who have been with the channel for a long time, you would in fact know that my channel was shut down by a bot, and my everything was destroyed, and my appeal was rejected. I had to go through a YouTube hero for that. And they're not called heroes now, but that's basically what they are, what they were introduced as. If the memories of a Borg or upload to the collective, does that mean that they can be downloaded back into a new body that's resurrecting the drone? I mean, in theory, I would say. Raptor Daz already liked and subbed. Well, you're a hero, good sir. A hero, as it were. So, in a way, everyone in Starfleet are clones. I would say the majority of the Federation are clones because civilians utilize transporters on a daily basis. So, I'd imagine. I don't know. Again, and there may not be a lot to talk about when it comes to this, if we're all just being honest, right? I just thought it might be interesting to walk through how Starfleet medical technology could be horrific by its very own design, you know? Because you can clone people, you can create life from death, you can cause massive pain in the right circumstances. And basically, again, when you beam somebody, you're killing one person to create a new one, and you can be immortal through that. Conversely, in Wrath of Khan, people remain conscious and can even somehow mid-transport. Hell, if I can figure out how that works. I'd have to rewatch that to know what you're talking about. Transport can beam Moon from one place to another if the pattern buzzer is big enough. Sure, I guess. I mean, you'd have to have like a ton. You'd have to have a computer that would rival what even Starfleet has, though. That's a lot of information. I wish they explored the use of transporters by Section 31. Section 31 had some advanced stuff. I have stated before, and I wouldn't be surprised if Section 31 was utilizing Borg technology. If they took all the Borg technology they found on Earth and was using it that way. So, I mean, just think how many Commander datas you can replicate with the transporter. Sure. And then you could replace people's eyes, and it'd be very, very easy. You'd just put visors on everyone's eyes. You know? Oops, I transported your shoulder blade into your groin. That would be painful. The Emissary, the original had been dead since the first time Sisko used the transporter. I mean, yeah, and I think that goes back to, I don't think, this is kind of off the beaten path, but the more I watch Trek, the more I don't think there is a, like, uppercase God in that universe as we've kind of discussed it. Because the way everything works in Trek, I don't see how you could have a soul. I don't see how anyone could ever believe necessarily that there is any kind of supreme being or anything like that. I mean, realistically. And I know that's off the beaten path, but it's just something that I always thought about. The transporters definitively create copies, and the copies are the ones that live. So if there is a soul in the Trek universe, what happens to that soul? They're actually called part of the transporter a matter stream, so does that not imply a person's matter is the thing actually being disassembled and reassembled and carried by the beam? It's not being disassembled, though. We know that, Vile Mike, through a couple of episodes, but the most well-known episode would be the one with Riker, where you have two of them. Let me see. Second Chances. Because they talk about how it copies it, creates the copy on the ship, and then sends down like a kill code that destroys the original copy. And that didn't happen in Second Chances. So that's why you have two specific Rikers. So, I don't know. Will Lozone, Kirk and crew are religious. Don't make me go over that again. Sorry for all caps. Well, if you used all caps, you could go back. Kirk and crew aren't religious. There are at least a couple people. I know that definitively. Scotty is an atheist, an admitted atheist. So Kirk and crew aren't religious at all. I forget if Kirk's religious. I don't think he is. Maybe he is. I don't know. I know from TNG on, humanity and most likely Starfleet are. And if they are religious, then they're wrong. And it just shows how people can be tricked. Because again, in the universe, it doesn't make any logical sense. Remember the episode in TNG where Barclay was attacked? Wow. 1 second, guys. I apologize. Why is my voice going out? That's not loud. Remember that episode in TNG where Barclay was attacked by those microbes in the transporter stream? That was a better example of being aware in the transporter than Wrath of Khan. Yeah, and then those worms turned out to be people, too, that had gotten stuck. Now, interestingly, since we know that there are copies that are made when it comes to the transporter, which Barclay saw it and which Barclay tried to save him? So let's assume for the moment that they are copies that are made. That's what it shows us. So when Barclay is first transported and he's in the stream, is it the original copy that sees it and the clone that remembers it? Or is it the clone that's created is the one that sees it all the way? I don't know. Yeah, a lot of girls that I've been with have yelled, oh God, this feels so good. And most of them were atheists, Will Lozone. So saying, just using idioms that were used a lot of times doesn't mean anything. Either that or I am the single best converter to Christianity that you've ever seen. One of the two of those are true. Question would be, by the way... Question, isn't Q a kind of god because he can do anything? Yeah, I'd say Q's a lowercase god. I'd say the prophets are the same as well. Second Chances did not say they used a kill code. The second Riker was recreated because they tried to use a second beam to get him up and it bounced off. Yeah, they used a kill. What they did literally is they literally talk about it in there. They talk about how it destructs the original being. I bet you money on it. They are filling the warp. What is the warp from 40K. Yeah, I need to do more Warhammer 40K. I really do. Your sexual bragging is kind of lame. Well, Das RH, there's this really cool button. It's going to be, okay, I'm going to help you out, Das RH, real quick. In the top right-hand corner, assuming that you're using a PC and you're using the Microsoft Windows operating system, which is what you should be using because that's what great people do. You're going to see this X. Now, if you go over it, generally it's probably going to turn like a red or orangish color. And all you got to do is click on that X. Now, if that, for any reason, doesn't work and you're still using the Microsoft Windows operating system and you don't like the content you're watching, hit Alt and F4 while this window this magical window you're watching me through, hit Alt and F4 takes care of all your problems. McCoy is from the South. Most of them believe in God, but Kirk sure does. Okay. That's fantastic. See, Vile Mike knows. He's converted many people too. To be honest, everybody should fall down unconscious due to the electrical signals between the synapses would be missing. Yes, absolutely. What Windows? What's that? Copa Dasso. Windows is the single greatest creation and yet the worst creation. Oh, yeah, if you're on Linux, all two of you. Or you can delete System 32. That'll take care of it too. My sarcasm is like me, thick. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Looking back at what we were talking about. I think Starfleet is way too powerful and basically are godlike when you consider that. And the technology can be used in ways that come out as a way of trying to be humorous, but really when you look at it, it is quite disturbing. I'm from the South. We got them there, atheists here too. Yeah, you're talking to one. I am from the South as well. I'm just saying, Laura, I won't question your DS9 logic. Do not question me on my TOS knowledge. That's fine. I'm just saying that my conquests use a lot of idioms too. I'm just saying. Remember the episode where Pulaski was infected with the disease that was a response of antibodies from genetic children? That was a good example of pattern buffers and biofilters. Did they fix that through the transporters? I forget how they fix it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did fix it through the transporters. I know Lore Runner wanted her to die in that. The real truth is there's no conspiracy. That is the real truth. Starfleet is secretly way more terrifying than the Imperium. I don't know about all that. Maybe. I'm watching on a PS4, don't own a PC, and we need more people that speak their mind. Yeah, I generally don't get into politics, though. See, if I got into politics, people would get so mad watching this right now. If I were to say something like, I'm not the biggest fan of Trump. I don't think that he does the best job. Evidence does show that he has been amazing for the economy, but when it comes to everything else, there's not a ton of evidence that he's done anything good. That said, Trump is made to look just brilliant based on the lower echelons of the left. Now watch. There will be a complaint. If not in the comments, if not in the live stream, in the comments. Watch. The Federation are all vegans. You know, interestingly enough, we have evidence to show that a large portion of the Federation and Starfleet are vegans. But you do have outliers. You have, and they became vegan in the TNG era. They were not vegan when it came to the original series, though I think they were moving that way. But you do have outliers in TNG DS9, Cisco, O'Brien, Jake, a few others that were outliers. Will Low Zone, I'll find out where you live. Dude, you weren't the first one to ever threaten me like that, good sir. And you won't be the last. Ironically, I know you're joking, but I've had people... man, give me a second. I've had people who have threatened me in earnest like that. If you want to speak your mind on Minds. I don't think Minds is going anywhere. Is Minds even still up? Does Minds still even do anything? In your opinion, Lore and chat, which was better? Chief Medical Officer Crusher? Crusher all the way. I hated Pulaski. Pulaski's a bigot, and she doesn't know half of the stuff that Beverly Crusher did. Pulaski is one of the worst officers. Not speaking to the actress, I'm just speaking to the character. One of the worst Starfleet officers that has ever existed. Hey, I don't know what y'all talking about at the moment, but this question has been burning at me. Is it possible when the Romulans secluded themselves, the Tal Shiar became more influential and slowly changed? Um, I think they became more insulated, and by becoming insulated, the those who were uh, authoritarian took over, and the Tal Shiar was used like that. Sure. Does Data get a firmware update via Bluetooth or subspace? Subspace, definitively. Uh, Definitely. 1 second, guys. Crusher crushes Pulaski. I would agree. Worse than Bashir? Absolutely. I mean, I think Bashir is on par, if not better, than Beverly. Later season Bashir, early season 1, season 2 Bashir sucked, but later season Bashir. Yeah, I don't like Pulaski at all. Again, she's a bigot, and she's a bad person. She really is. I find out where your house lives, where your bed sleeps, and where your cupboard keeps its clothes. You know, there are stupid people. There was someone. I don't necessarily make it a complete secret where I live. It's not really hard to find out. But before I became more open about it, when I first started, I think I had like 10,000 subscribers or something. This dude somehow finds out, or I assume it's a dude, could have been a chick, I guess. This person somehow finds out what city I live in before I, had ever said anything about it. And finds my personal email and sends me on my personal email locations to where I could go and gyms I could work out at. I will give them this. That was unique. I have not had an experience like that before or after. I'm mixing him up with B5's Doc. I don't know who you're talking about, good sir. Can I make an argument that the Tal Shiar was the Romulans' version of Section 31? I don't know that. I mean, I think everybody assumes that. The Will Zone dude was kidding. Sorry, bro. I'm joking with you, Will. Will, calm down, buddy. Calm down. I even said I know you're joking. Anyway, I think the Tal Shiar is just an open Section 31. They're not as good as Section 31. But I think that it's just well known that they work like Section 31 if they were just open about it. Remember that race that stole organs? Why couldn't Voyager just clone them a bunch of organs? They absolutely could have. A lot of people like to disagree with this. You're talking about the Vidians. The Voyager could have fixed all their problems by giving them a regular... by either replicating the organs for them or giving them just a replicator. They would have fixed all of the issues. Pulaski was actually a good doctor, but I hated her attitude towards Data. I'm sorry, so you didn't like when she was a bigot and a racist towards Data, but she's a good doctor. Huh, that's interesting. Let's put that in the real world. You know, I like this guy. He's a good doctor. I just wish that he didn't hate Asians. He's a really good doctor if his hate of Asians and treating them like they're nothing. I don't see that. I don't see a good doctor that's like that. But every major power has their own intelligence organization. They do. Some are better than the others. Pulaski was meant to be a clone of Bones. He treated Spock the same way she treated Data. He did not, Charles. I know that's what they said, and I know that was their goal. But take it from somebody who has watched it quite a few times. The way that McCoy treated Spock is so completely different than the way that Pulaski treated Data. I understand and I get that they were trying to mimic it, but it is not the same. Not only that, and this is completely underscored, and I don't know why people blatantly ignore this, but Spock took a lot of pot shots at Bones as well. He was consistently attacking McCoy. He said McCoy wasn't logical. He sometimes intimated McCoy wasn't a person. He consistently and constantly always talked about how McCoy didn't know how to do his own job. McCoy was worse. I would agree with that. But it is just not the same thing. Spock and McCoy were. It was just the context of it is so drastically different. Now, what may have been a part of that is that I do think that they took time to build up Spock and McCoy more than I think they threw Pulaski and Data together too quickly. I think that they try to get instantly what they had with Spock and McCoy. Toss, bread, and circuses, says Maylock 1824. So what is that in reference to? Toss, bread, and circuses. What about toss, bread, and circuses? The Enterprise discovers the wreckage of a Federation vessel in orbit around an Earth-like planet where Gladio-type Enterprise continue to flourish. I guess I'm trying to understand why we're bringing that in. Spock almost clocked McCoy a few times and even told him that his words cut deep. You know, Spock did a lot back to him, though. That's the thing. It was Spock in like the first or the second, I think it was the first episode, is insulting McCoy. They both had it. That's the problem with Pulaski and Data. Pulaski is going after Data, and Data never responds because he doesn't understand. He's darn near childlike. Red 234 lives, by the way. What's going on? So it's not the same dynamic. It's not fair. It's like if she was making fun of a child who couldn't understand. Who would be the top between Spock and Bones? It'd probably be Bones, because Spock, I guess, just, he doesn't care. It doesn't bother him. I mean, I don't know, but that's who I'd do if I was writing it. We'll have to disagree. It's not I disagree that we're disagreeing. It would be like you pointing at a tree and saying that's a house, and I'm like, no, it's a tree. You can clearly see how it's a tree, and you're saying, well, I guess we'll have to disagree. I don't even know that I can agree to disagree. It's possible they could have gotten out of it what they wanted to with Pulaski and Data, but I think it was just too quick. Why was McCoy the only one with short sleeves? As a doctor, he needed sleeves the most to cover all that arm hair. You didn't have to when you had that medicine. Check Star Trek Voyager episode Faces. The Vidians almost had a cure. Okay. When it comes to space combat, do you prefer the more realistic B5 or do I prefer Star Trek? I would go with B5. I like B5 combat. But both don't matter to me, though. I like them both. Hey, Lore Reloaded, recently found your channel. Excellent Trek content. Well, Alicia, I am glad you enjoy. Hey, you know what? I knew that one day you would want to find excellent Trek content, so I'm glad that the channel could give it to you. Don't get me wrong, they became best of friends. Also, Also, that tree could be a house for those with the skill. I see what you did there, Will Lozone. Was the Obsidian Order the most effective intelligence organization as they claim? No, they weren't. Section 31 was the most efficient and effective intelligence organization. That's just fact. Was the Obsidian Order better than the Tal Shiar? Dialogue tells us that the Obsidian Order was supposed to be so much better than the Tal Shiar. I don't ever see any evidence of that. Actually, there's evidence to the contrary of it, in my opinion. But, I mean, they were supposed to. Spock could have placed his Katra in anyone in Star Trek 2, but he picked Bones. He did. Bones' hairs are his primary medicine. That's how he actually cured people. I should say the Vidian scientist was optimistic that B'Elanna held the cure for their disease. Maybe. I introduced my friends to Star Trek, and my friends introduced me to this channel. Well, cool, Red 234. I'm glad you guys found it. I'm glad that the channel... One of the things I'm proud of the most on the channel is that it can create a conversation, that people don't necessarily agree with me, but they'll at least look at my stuff and then start discussing it. That's the point of the channel. Giant capital ships don't fly around like fighter ships. Okay. Say what you will about Discovery. I think Discovery was more realistic with the way it covered the capital ship fights. It felt a lot of it felt like it was very it was a lot more realistic. Babylon 5 may have done it better, but you rock. Enterprise was the best, or at least I enjoyed it the most. Well, good. What is your favorite Star Trek movie? What is your favorite Star Trek movie from the TOS era? I'll be honest. I can enjoy TOS Star Trek, but it is not my favorite by a long shot. Last few minutes of the episode mentions God and Christ. Okay. Yeah, SC never agrees with me at all. TOS movies. I will say that I prefer like TNG. DS9 is my absolute favorite. It is funny that I type in TOS movies and I see Axanar. I would have to say... Let me make sure. I would have to say probably The Undiscovered Country would be my most favorite. Last few minutes of that episode mentions God or Christ. By the way, Maylock, thank you so much for supporting the channel, guys. I can't, I keep the lights on through support from you guys. So super chats, Patreon memberships. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. So let's see. Bread and Circus Trek. What am I looking for? It's not going to have it. Let's do script. They're not going to have the screenplay. I doubt they would have the screenplay. That would be surprising to me. Christ. Let's see. Kirk. So looking at this, we're looking at Bread and Circus. The last scene is on the bridge. So you have Kirk. So Kirk talking. This is the dialogue. Kirk, in strong personal feelings, he obeyed the Prime Directive. His temporary blackout of the city below resulted in no interference with the society, and yet saved the lives of myself and the landing party. Scott, thank you, Captain. Scott leaves as McCoy and Spock enter bridge. Kirk, gentlemen. McCoy, Captain, I see on your report Flavius was killed. I'm sorry, I liked that huge sun worshipper. Spock, I wish we would have examined that belief of his more closely. It seems illogical for a sun worshipper to develop a philosophy of total brotherhood. Sun worship is usually a primitive superstition religion. Uhura, I'm afraid you have it all wrong, Mr. Spock, all of you. I've been monitoring some of their old-style radio waves. The Empire spokesman trying to ridicule their religion, but he couldn't. Don't you understand? It's not the sun up in the sky, it's the Son of God. Kirk, Caesar and Christ, they had them both, and the word is spreading only now, a philosophy of total love and total brotherhood. It will replace their imperial Rome, but will it happen in their 20th century? Wouldn't it be something to watch, to be a part of, to see it happen all over again? So, it's been a while since I've seen this episode. So they're talking about Christ and it being... And this is one of those where they were, well, it happened on Earth, so it's happening here too. I don't think that proves anything. I don't think that proves like anything at all. Farpoint Station, what is your favorite kind of emoji to have? Well, the emoji that I enjoy the most is probably like the silly one. It's the, like a smiley emoji, if I had to guess. If we match the likes with the viewer count before the stream is over, I'll do my next live stream nude. Okay, well, you won't be having a live stream for long. You won't be having a channel for long if you do that, but you could. Do you think the 24th Century Federation... But, I think we should do that. Don't get me wrong. So, yeah, get the likes to 112 at the time. Do you think the 24th Century Federation could survive a sphere builder invasion? I think they'd mop the floor with the sphere builders, which is one of the reasons they did it so far back. Is why. I like using the ant so I can bug people. Well, good. I don't know. Sometimes hostilities and friendships can develop very quickly. Sometimes it's not love at first sight. Okay. Best gloss over of all time. Yeah, Charles, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Okay. Yeah, I forget what that one's about, but it honestly, the original series I feel like was somewhat of I don't think catfish is the right word. I think that you still saw an atheist Gene Roddenberry being passive aggressive against religion. A lot of the time when we saw religion in the original series, it was in a negative light. I'm not saying that's good or I wanted to see that. I'm just saying that's the way it was. And so he really was completely honest when you look at, TNG. Am I allergic to cats? No, I've just been talking a lot. All right, guys, hold on. I think I'm about to get triggered. Let's do this live. Let's see. This is on the Maquis Useful Idiots. Someone just left a comment. It's Tom so-and-so. Let me make sure this isn't a troll. So what happens is there are trolls, and the way they operate is they won't comment on every video, because I'll catch them if they do that. But they comment on like every third video or come back every other month, and they know how to anger me. Yeah, and Tom's one of them. I'm glad I checked that. Okay. Yeah. So I'm not going to let him do it. You lose this time, Tom. Atheists be passive aggressive in the 60s? Never. Yeah, everyone's passive aggressive. I don't even want to hear that. The religious are becoming more passive aggressive now. They didn't have to be because they controlled everybody in the back then. Now they don't. They have to be a little more passive aggressive. Remember the Obsidian Order teamed up. Is it the Obsidian Order? Teamed up with the Tal Shiar to wipe out the Founders, but the Founders wiped them out instead. Yes, indeed they did. Hashtag lore, what is the single worst story in all of Trek, which is now part of canon? Do you think it's possible to fix it? I'd say all of Discovery. Is it possible to fix it? No, because they've already been through all of it. Retconning it would be. I like to be able to discuss Star Trek from time to time. Around here, nobody likes Star Trek. Everybody likes Star Trek, buddy. Oh, you mean where you live? Okay. I'm just saying they couldn't be as open as that. They couldn't be as... I don't know what you're talking about, Lego. In regards to your plot hole and continuity issues, do you forgive T-Walk for its issues? The Wrath of Khan? I mean, everything has continuity issues and gaffes. It's just a matter of if it's done on purpose and to the extent. I think that's what people get upset or confused about. Plot holes and continuity gaffes are going to occur in almost everything. I don't know anything that doesn't have some form of continuity problems. It's just how much it impacts you and if it's willful or not. Unfortunately, Willow's own Discovery is canon. It is. What is your take on the Borg mine from episode Scorpion and the Borg ship from Descent? What is my take on the Borg? There was a Borg mine? Yeah, I am live. What's up?
Can you help me log into something?
Okay.
It's called Minecraft.
Yeah, okay. It's called Minecraft, like they're not going to know. I'll be right back, guys. No one's allowed to leave. All right, back. Nobody left. Good. Y'all weren't allowed to leave, so that's good. I'm glad we did that. Well, I guess I'm stuck for the time you are stuck. I know you heard the conversation in the background. I was fine with that. No prevalence of mass shoo-ins? What? No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. It's true. No one expects. So what were we talking about? Where are we going with this? What's happening? The Borg minefield in, what was it? Will Lozone, but seriously, Toss was very pro-God. It was not, Will Lozone. That is your, I'm sorry, ma'am. That is simply your, That was simply your nostalgia. Go back and watch it again and watch it from without any kind of bias. You'll see they put it down a lot. And I disagree with it. I don't think they should have. I think it was done pretty pretty bad, pretty poorly. But they really don't, in my opinion at least. So was the background, I got to figure out why it's doing that. It shouldn't be. You guys should be hearing it fine. I guess I shouldn't be eating while I'm talking to you guys. Hey Laura, love your comment. Love your content? Do you feel Captain Robot's USS Kelvin uniform? Captain Robot. Thanks for the support. Captain Robot, Star Trek. I do. I do think that is canon. I actually have a complete uniform breakdown, and I include that in the canon part of it. Now, let me say this. Since that video, there has been some convincing there has been some convincing arguments to why it may not be. But if you look at glad you enjoy the content, Cody, I do it for you. If you look at the timeline as linear, right? Then it would make sense that everything that happens up to the point that Nero comes in is canon. So you have the USS Kelvin. The USS Kelvin is designed the way that it is. Their uniforms are all canon. And then everything that happens after the Kelvin, or after Nero gets there, completely changes it. Now, some people have made the argument that if time is altered, then it impacts both sides. That it impacts everything that happened before it and everything that happened after it. Now the evidence for that is, I believe Kirk's father wasn't supposed to be on that ship, at least not in continuity. Like that goes against some dialogue. So on either side, I have seen it. I've seen it go. For me, I do think that. It's canon, but I can see why people wouldn't. Atheist groups are actually, among the most growing, while everything else is diminishing relatively overall. Depends on where you look at. Will Lozone, for the good of the stream, I'll drop it. No, dude, it's absolutely positively great when you want to fight me, because I love fighting someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. So, I mean, if you want to keep doing this, that's only good content for me to destroy you on stream, man. So please keep going. I'm just messing with you, Will Lozone. You don't have to drop it, though. I'm just giving you a hard time, though. Laura, do you think Crusher, Pulaski, or Phlox could have cured the quickening in the DS9 era like genetically enhanced Cheater Bashir did in the episode? Maybe Crusher. And maybe Pulaski. Phlox could not have. I don't think he has the technology to. But what we do need to do is most first world. Okay, SC. Most first world cultures based on religion. Okay. All right, let's get off of this topic. Let's get off the religion topic, unless it's related to Trek, before people get triggered. Or continue to say things like that. Laura, do you like the TNG movies? They're all right. I don't hate them. I don't think they're consistent. I think we should have seen DS9. They tried to make characters that aren't actiony. And personally, they're not my favorite. I really don't think Trek has done movies all that well. Even into none of the eras, I think, did them great. I think Trek more lends itself to serialized storytelling. I said before you get triggered, Lego, not that you were triggered. Could the Enterprise D survive in the Expanse? Yes, I think they could. Phlox preferred his scalpels and leeches. Yeah, I just think he was in the wrong time. So, anyway, I did it nicely. The next time I ask you guys to stop talking about religion in the real world won't be as nicely. Getting too much buffering. Is it buffering for anyone else? Is anyone else getting buffering? Cool, but I'm watching it right now. I watch it very often. Kirk is my favorite captain. Okay. Yeah, let me know if it's buffering for you guys. I don't know if that's something on YouTube's side or not. We'll be ending it pretty soon, though, too. So what's this about medical technology? Well, we were talking about that at the beginning. Of course, the longer we go, the less likely I'm talking about the topic that's in the title. But medical technology can be horrific. You can zombify people. You can do a lot of bad things to them. Too much religion, not enough gelato. That is true. Laura, I'm getting no buffering. Okay, good. Would you guys like to see daughter number 1? I'm sure they want to see. If you want to say hi to him, you can. I'm getting off soon. Okay, what do you want to show him?
Elsa!
Okay.
Little mini Elsa. Elsa.
Look right there. Yeah, it's right there.
Meow, meow, meow. I even have their horse.
She has a horse?
Yes.
Where is it? All right, show him the horse and then we're done. I don't think Phlox preferred his scalpels and leeches. I think he simply didn't discount them as being too primitive. Yeah, he was supposed to be kind of, let's do both. Let's have medical technology plus all of this. So,
What?
you need to return that.
No, they didn't.
I thought you already had. What?
No, they didn't say I did.
Well, I did. All right.
Hello.
You want to show the horse? All right.
They're surprised.
Go play. They
ask
are
them-
surprised. I'll agree with that. What?
They're surprised that I'm coming out here.
What did you want me to ask them?
Yes, are you surprised to see me with a bear mask?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what they say. All right. We'll talk about the Borg religion. What do you think of Omega? Yeah, as long as it's related to Star Trek. That's all I ask. It's all I ask. I know, I'm generally open to conversation, and so I apologize when it's not something when I have to shut it down, but I don't want to deal with people can get upset, and it's not what I want to do with the channel. The horse is naily fantastic. They like the horse, and then some of them are laughing, and then some of them said that your mask was nightmare fuel. They're going to have nightmares about it. All right. Anything left before we end, my peeps? Oh, tonight we're doing the first game. It's going to be game 0. I'll be recording it, but it probably won't be live for Star Trek Adventures. And then it will be live starting next Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. The first one will be here on YouTube, but I'll probably do Twitch after that. I'm going to do highlights too. Guys, don't forget to check out every other Friday. So the 22nd is the second War Canoe podcast. And if you guys want to do more of these, definitely let me know. Trek 95, it's your channel. You choose my channel is about the discussion on what you guys want to say. Not set to Vulcan or Alien. Okay. I'm still waiting for the follow-up episode of Schisms from TNG. I like the aliens and schisms. Okay. I think Dr. Seeler was an unemotional Pulaski. He actually may have been. By the way, I put this out there before, guys. Watch out. Don't put too many emoticons. Apparently they're banning entire accounts. Like you lose your Gmail and all access to Google. So watch out for that.
I just wanted to say that don't call my thing nightmare fuel. I work very hard for that and I think it's cute. So stop it.
Okay. Go play, baby. Love you. Peace Canoe Pocket. No, it's the War Canoe podcast. Would the Kelvin timeline have a mirror universe to itself? It would indeed have a mirror universe. Phlox definitely did not discount a medical discipline. I'm not a huge fan of Phlox because he got an entire generation killed. I mean, ultimately it was Archer's problem, but I think Phlox played a part. Guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Lore Reloaded. Dun 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 dun.